All right, everybody, welcome. So it's tea time. I mean, it's been a long time since I've done a video. I have just been very busy working in person, and since all of the happenings of the world have happened, I have had less face-to-face time. So I thought, hey, you know what? Maybe it's time for, a new tea time. As you may know, I am Dr. T. That's the tea part. I normally am drinking tea. um, Today, I actually am just drinking hot water with lemon. I have been kind of consistently doing this. I do it all the time in general, especially during like flu seasons and stuff. Um, but especially right now, there's a lot of information going around, and it's really, really hard to determine kind of what's just extremes, what's panic, what is underreaction, what's overreaction. And so trying to figure out kind of where we are right now is a tough situation. But as far as we understand the virus up until this point, um, is that one of the things we really want to make sure we do is not have a dry throat, so kind of constantly drinking water. I've also read most recently that as far as we know, this virus is not heat resistant. So drinking hot water, teas, things like that often help take the virus down into your stomach, which has insane acids, which will destroy the virus. You just don't want it entering kind of the trachea going into the lungs. And so kind of little basic self-care stuff, being super, super hydrated all the time, maybe sitting and having a cup of tea and reading a book, which is, of course is phenomenal for you, actually can help with prevention. So what I wanted to just kind of take a little bit of time to talk about today is this idea of social distancing. Um, Please hold as I fog up my glasses. Um, Social distancing is kind of being implemented everywhere, whether we want it to or not. I mean, especially if we're discussing schools. The district that I work for, is done for 2 weeks, minimally at this point. There are so many of you who have already been kind of home and are looking at it, kind of playing with it. And you've got this word, this terminology circulating around, and there's a lot of different meanings, right? There's a lot of different things that we're hearing this means. Um, and so I thought at least we could kind of discuss it as far as like social distancing for teens, preteens, kind of these young people, right? Is kind of a different world and entity, right, than adults. There's some adults that are like, sweet, I get to be by myself for 2 weeks. This is going to be awesome. But you are social beings, right? This is kind of like that prime time where, like, if you can't be social, you go crazy. And so let's think about social distancing, right? This term is really kind of a tough thing, but if we just think of the concept of social, that's being in society. Um, um, so social distancing. So the idea of social, right, society, is this idea that we kind of distance ourselves from all of society as much as possible, or we don't create big social gatherings or really any social gatherings at this point, right? There's this kind of idea of this 6 foot rule, right? We're not hugging, we're not sneezing on each other. And so that is, I mean, and most places are closing down at this point, so that you don't even have the option to be kind of social. But I think what's happening is, when we say social distancing, we're kind of creating this idea, this misnomer of like, you know, stay away, disconnect, and kind of, really don't be around anybody at all. And there's a power to disconnecting from the world and really kind of coming into our space and using it to kind of recuperate, right? Self care, retreat, this term retreat. I mean, like, if you think of Buddhism, or something they actually, this is something they do on purpose. A lot of people do, to kind of restore their mind, body, spirit, and so it can really be taken that way, absolutely. But what we definitely understand is that, if we think of, teens, right? We think of being a young person in this world. Um, we are kind of naturally really good at social distancing. But the thing is you're really good at social distancing from, like, your family, your parents, right? You're like, I'm really great at distancing from kind of family social engagements, because that's kind of where you are in your development, and that's great. Be there. Individuation, right? But that does mean social gatherings with peers, right? Your friends. And so it's really a difficult space for you to have everything kind of shut down, and you kind of are forced to spend more time with your parents and family and less time with your friends. So there could be a lot of urge and desire to do it anyway, um, which I um, would suggest, of course, to connect with your friends, but really try not to do it physically. Um, and of course, just simply by saying try not to, or don't do it, or whatever, that, like, immediately in your mind you're like, I have to. And so I mean, we can't stop you. But the reason this whole thing is happening, and the concept of kind of isolating and really kind of reducing as much contact as possible, is because the virus just kind of grabbed hold in the US, right? It just kind of got a little footing here. It's not at the point where it's really completely widespread yet. I mean, we really have no concept of how many cases there actually are right now, especially because tests are not readily available as often as you hear it might be. And there's a lot of red tape to even get the test. And so we really are not quite sure what's happening, but there's a lot of articles, and there's a lot of images that are out there right now that are talking about leveling the curve. And so, basically, the biggest concern at this point is that our healthcare facilities are not prepared for a huge mass of individuals who contract this virus at the same time, because it is a bronchial virus, right? So it's going to be it's a breathing thing, lungs, bronchi, etc., inflammation kind of here. And so there's a lot of need for respirators, and hospitals don't have enough to make sure that the people who get it are being treated properly. And so this idea of kind of keeping our space for time being now, right? This idea of prevention, we want to level the curve, right? Instead of having this huge curve where right here at the top it's like, okay, this is the number of cases we have, and here's my line of healthcare capacity, right? We are extending beyond the carrying capacity of our healthcare system. We want to take that big old curve and we want to flatten it out, right? Because we're going to see cases. We're going to see a spike. This is going to be around. This isn't just going to magically go away. But by taking action now, and by making sure that we're not acting out of fear, right? This idea here is that we're not like, people, right? And it's not a fear-based thing. We're actually trying to act out of love, because many people who are carriers are between, right, 18 and 49, right? They're the people who aren't getting crazy symptoms. It's more flu-like. They're getting past it, but they're carrying it. And so what happens is, if you go out, interact, and you touch everything, and other people touch things, right, or you're just kind of close to someone, there's a very good chance you're helping someone contract. And so we are trying to live a little selfless, right, by kind of restricting our time out in the outside world. But I want to make sure we understand this does not mean to disconnect completely, right? If you are someone who has sees a counselor all the time, or a therapist, or has it just has a it has is working on a mental health issue, make sure that you connect with them, right? Get on a video chat, get on the phone, send an email, send a text, however you can do that. I mean, you all connect typically with each other via social media, text, etc. Anyway, right? I have had many groups of teens sitting around me who are literally talking to each other via Snapchat versus having a conversation when they're 10 feet away from each other. So you're very capable of staying connected. It won't be the same, right? But it is still possible. And you're kind of designed to be able to survive this, right? And to be able to stay socially connected and stable and sane. um, so it's really making sure you're feeding yourself with the kind of proper nutrition. And I mean food, yes. I mean water, yes. But also the proper relationships, right? The proper information, and the proper energy. Okay, this is a phenomenal time to really reset. What is actually important to you? What are those priorities, right? Because there's only so much, right, we can even focus on and pay attention to right now, because everything's moving so fast. We're being really forced to stay in the moment. We're being really forced to kind of face our fear, face our anxiety, and just be, because we don't know what's going to happen. So it's a beautiful time to create, right? Do some art, do some journaling, kind of, um, as woo as you want to make it sound, get zen, right? Tap into the things that um, have been neglected, and now you have time to focus on it. And of course, you can spend the whole time watching Netflix, disconnecting completely. Um, or you can use this as an opportunity to really shift. I really truly believe many of you are facing situations where you have to kind of really get over a part of yourself that's holding you back from your truest and kind of most real, authentic you. The kids that I kind of continue to talk to and work with, it is this. There's just a lot coming up that is almost forcing kind of ego death. That ego personality, that mask, the person we've created because we think it's the most acceptable version for everyone else. And the thing we have to understand is, we as a society, global village, we focus very externally, and we are being forced inside. And I do not just mean inside our homes. We are being forced inside, and this is not happening on accident. Okay, so take advantage and really start to tap in. You're not alone. You have support. You can reach out to me at any time. I have lots and lots of you that I'm still connected with and I'm talking to on a regular basis. But ask questions, ask what this means, ask what this looks like, ask kind of how do I go about this? And you can also say, this is just total crap and I don't believe you, or I think this is stupid, and that's fine too. I am simply providing a perspective, an opportunity to understand a little bit of what's going on and what this means, some ways to go about navigating it, and just really trying to reinforce, we are not isolating. We are not kind of pretending like we have walls and there's no community anymore. There's still community, even though we cannot physically interact or are being kind of held back from the normal amount of physical interaction that we have. Okay. let me know if you have anything. Let me know if you've got ideas or thoughts. Of course, you can email me at recoveringyouth@gmail.com. Of course, some of you have my contact. And we are on Instagram, we are on Snapchat as well. So just let us know. Let us know what you need. Let us know if you've got some perspectives on this, because what I'm hearing from a lot of my teens is just some really phenomenal stuff. And so I am really quite impressed by kind of the kids out there. So let us know what's going on. Let us know how you're doing. And I'll be in touch soon. All right. Take care. Bye.